Hey guys, I'm back. Miranda Manticos. Alright, I'm doing this from my truck in the parking lot of my business. Because, yeah, gotta get it done. Alright, so this is the masculine message. I went ahead and pulled the cards just to save time. And let me just find my little notes. Alright, okay. So the first one that came up for the masculine healing. So if we're going to tie this into the previous message, the very most previous message about the rage and the anger and the frustration with the systems and the oppression of humanity and the cycles that we're in. And by the way, I have seen this in the masculine in every walk of life, okay? Every income level, every cultural representation. In other words, this message is for everyone, okay? There are people on this planet who, this goes back to the previous message, who are on various extremes. Extreme poverty, right? Extreme wealth. It does not matter whether they're in extreme wealth or extreme poverty. They have been oppressed by a system, not realizing they were oppressed by a system, okay? So this is why this message is relevant no matter what perspective you're coming from, okay? I've actually done sessions, for example, on men who are so tired of working, pushing, going, trying to provide it all, trying to get it all. And this happens with women too, by the way, but I'm just using men as an example, as a focal point on the masculine healing. And they've provided so much, even very, very what we would consider financially successful men, right, who are mentally and emotionally tired because of the system. Because they can't stop. If they stop, they'll lose everything they have, okay? And the opposite of that is men who have gone through the feeling of being demasculated. And this happens with women as well. It's not just a male. This is a everyone message. Because they couldn't provide everything they needed or their families needed because of the system. So there's extremes, but they're all related because the system itself was designed to break humanity. Okay, but we're not going to break. We didn't come here to break. We came here to win, okay? So, all right, this first one that's coming up, I just made notes so I can hopefully make it quicker for you guys, okay? This one was so beautiful, by the way. Look at him. He's so beautiful. And his name is Geb, okay? And the brief message from the author is, life is your canvas. You're the creator. Find purpose and joy. No obligation. Embrace the transformative power of living authentically and with creative intent. Now, I just marked a few things that stood out so we don't have to read the whole thing. It says you don't have to find your purpose. You get to create it, okay? Create with power, with the power of your joy and laughter, not from a sense of should, what you should do, right? Rather than tick a set of boxes on a checklist created for you. Decide what you want on that checklist, okay? Life means whatever you decide it means, okay? You do not have to prove anything to anyone, not even to yourself. Release the pressure atop your shoulders, okay? This is why this is an everyone message. This pressure on humanity to be a certain way, look a certain way, do a certain thing, live a certain way, produce, work, slave. We're done with that. No, we're not going to do it anymore, okay? This is what this is talking about. Creating your own path, forging your own path, using that fire that I told you about in the first message today to forge your own way. Create what you want, okay? And that can look a lot of different ways, okay? And this is one more little note about this particular guide. You can look him up. It's a beautiful story. What he represents, okay? And you know, essentially he was a combination of air and water, okay? And I said this in the previous message, so it didn't surprise me that his card came up, because we're here to combine the elements, to be all the elements, okay? Spiritually, literally, you know, just in every kind of way. And he was that. He was the embodiment of more than one element, okay? And that's what we need right now. We need to bring it all together so that we can create what we want. So, Further down into the reading, issues with being overproductive. For example, for me as a mother, sometimes what that looks like is just choosing to sit down and rest and not do what I think I have to do. Okay, do I have to clean the kitchen right now? Do I have to cook for everybody right now? Is everyone's needs being met? That's what we do as mothers, right? And that's not a bad thing. That is sacred work. But is it okay for me to sit down and rest my body and let it go? Yes, it is. Okay? I have to get into my feminine to create what I want. So I have to tell my masculine, sit down. Sit down. It's okay. The dishes can sit there. Okay? Or, I have a career too. You guys know that. I have a business. So I balance my sessions with what I can handle. I don't overwork myself anymore. I used to do it. I don't do that anymore. I take the sessions that I want. I work with the people that I want to work with. I trust my guides. I listen. I set boundaries, right? That's what healing the masculine looks like. It's letting that feminine discernment come in and, remove what's not needed and only do what she wants, okay? And that's an every person journey, okay? All right, so there's that one. Now the second card that came up was Hiawatha. Hiawatha, what a beautiful name. Look how beautiful, guys. And there is a page, I don't know if it's on TikTok, but there's a page on Instagram called The Wisdom Keepers. Guys, go find that page. If I can find it on TikTok, I'll tag it, and I'll try to find it on YouTube as well if I can. But if not, look it up. It is a page dedicated to interviewing and sharing the wisdom of the ancient council of native cultures all over the world. Okay, so like, imagine being able to speak with Hiawatha, okay? Hearing what he observed and went through and how he was a peacekeeper and how he told his story, okay? That page is such a worthy channel to support because it's literally reaching out to the community members that are living now in this time, in this realm, different chiefs from different tribes, right? Shaman from different countries, men and women who are spiritual leaders of their people, spiritual guides, and gleaning their wisdom and sharing it with everyone. What a gift from the indigenous to give this to us all, to help us remember who we are, that we are the indigenous of Earth. We came here because we're meant to be here. We're meant to be born here. We're human. I said this the other day, but I'll tag Gabrielle again in this message because what she said is so important. We didn't come here to be anything else other than human. The more you embrace your humanity, the more powerful you are to correct the course of humanity in your own life and influence others as well for the good, okay? And so when we do that, when we don't forsake who we are, when we embrace it, even with its difficulties, even with its struggle, it's not easy to be human right now, okay? Maybe in the future is what I'm hearing. But right now, we're forging something and that's hard work, okay? So it's okay. Be okay with your humanity. But let's use it. We've been given a gift. Not everyone gets to come here. It is a privilege to be in the earth realm, okay? So let's work with it. Hiawatha, okay? So the first message is the antidote to isolation and loneliness is available through building ample platonic connections. Focus on building a solid community to foster intimacy and support. All right. So I am a cave healer. I go into my cave when I want to heal, okay? I'm a Scorpio. That's what we do. I go into myself and I figure out what I need. And that's okay. And you may be that same way, okay? But there is a point where we need community and connection, but it has to be the community that's ready for you and that you are ready for. So start looking for that. Start looking in a sense of just kind of, you can do that through social media even. Everybody, says negative things sometimes about social media, but the cool thing about it is it's allowing everybody real-time access to each other, and that can be a little crazy sometimes, but it can also be awesome because if you let it, you can calibrate your community. Who are your people? Who is your tribe? Okay? And I understand we're all here together and we love each other and we're here as a collective, but there are going to be these certain individuals who really understand you and work well with you and support your mission and you support their mission. And those are the ones that are being called, right? And you can energetically bring them into your circle. It's not like you have to go hunting for them. You can, but you can also just bring them in, by tuning yourself. And as you tune yourself, they find you, okay? But the point is to connect, okay? Hiawatha used his wisdom and all his experience to basically, he brought together 5 nations of indigenous people peacefully, okay? He used what he had to bring the collective together, okay? So if you wanted to translate that into like a modern sense, you know, find your community. Create it if you have to. If you don't have it, if you don't find it anywhere, maybe it's because you're being called to create it. Create the community that you're looking for. And that can look like something fun and simple. It can be big and over the top. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're called to do, start doing it. Do what makes you joyful and happy. And as you do, that's what's going to vibrate around you, okay? And that's going to create the community you're looking for. And there's ways, right? Okay, like, you know, it mentions here like book clubs, and I have a friend that's in a cross-stitch club. Like, that's just a simple idea of like connecting with people who have a common interest. But it could also be like going to the farmer's market, right? Well, everybody at the farmer's market is interested in getting local produce and supporting local farmers and connecting with a community. So it could be something like that, right? It could be hosting, like I do sometimes upstairs in my building. I host little events, right? Or going and speaking at an event. I do that, where I go and I speak at an event, connect with that community, and share some of the wisdom I have gleaned from working with the goddess and working with that collective Christ consciousness. All these beautiful beings that are here to help us, to assist us with their wisdom. So, you know, step outside your cave for a minute. But do it with discernment, right? Do it with looking for your people and showing love and being love. And it's going to benefit you. Not to isolate yourself. And the masculine energy does like to isolate itself. Again, I think that's why I do love the masculine energy so much, and that may be because inside of me, I have that strong masculine as well, where, you know, I get it, I understand. We like to go in and just hide and heal, because for so long we were not safe to share our emotions and our feelings, but now we're being called to do that. That is actually your strength, to share how you feel, show your vulnerability. I saw something the other day on a page of a girl. I don't know what she does, but I like her page. And she was just sharing some wisdom that she's gleaned, and she said something so true. She said, the power of the masculine is in its softness. Isn't that interesting? And the power of the feminine is in her strength. So I thought that was I was like, yeah, that's true. So like, you know, think about like in your life, like my husband, I feel like he is a gentle, soft masculine. He's very strong. He's very hardworking. He's got all that. But what I love the most about him is his gentleness. And so if you turn that inward and make that an inside journey, the power that you have to affect the community and yourself is going to greatly depend on your ability to soften the masculine and let him heal. Let him cry, let him feel, let him rest. And let the feminine create. Okay? And I think, you know, I'm hearing gender exploration. I feel like that's really relevant right now, because it's not that everybody has to have that journey. They don't. That's not for everybody. It's for the people who are being called to explore it, okay? But the reason I think they're being called to explore is because we're breaking down walls and boundaries of definitions of what it means to be anything. So sacred work can look different than what you think it looks like. It can be so different than what you think. This is where trust and surrender and love are so important, okay? Letting people just explore what it means to be who they are, whatever they feel, and allowing it to be. Not that it matters for that, as far as like to the person outside that journey. We have no right to tell somebody else how to live their journey. But so that being said, we can't control somebody else's journey anyway. It's not anybody's business how someone else does their work. But if we can embrace it and support it, hold space for it, even if we don't understand, this is when we begin to become community and understand the soul better, and understand that the soul does not have gender, okay? It does not. And it can be whatever it wants to be. And so there's so much, we're like on the verge of so much untreaded water, right? So many journeys that we've never seen before in humanity. Or if we have, it's been so long ago and so ancient that we don't know what it looks like. And that scares people too, right? When they don't know what it looks like. But trust, okay? Trust. That's why your feminine energy is so important, because she has the intuition. So bring her in and let her just guide you. Let her be the compass, right? And let that masculine heal and rest and tell him it's okay. It's okay. The feminine protector is very real as well. And she's leading right now within you. So I know there's so many things, I guess, because there's so many ways we could talk about this, but I feel like it's relevant. Okay. Eros came up again. He came up last week. I don't know if you guys remember this, but here he is again. And his story is about being okay with being in a relationship, being okay with not being 100% healed, and not thinking that you have to be 100% healed to be in a relationship. You don't. In fact, relationships teach us what we need to heal. So it's okay to be by yourself, and it's okay to live single, and that's fine. But if you're wanting a partner, okay, in life, and you haven't felt like you're ready because you think you're not healed enough, that's understandable, okay? Definitely I had to heal from the first marriage. It was awful and took time, okay? I feel like some aspects of me are still healing from that experience, but I've done most of the work from it. That being said, I did not let it stop me from pursuing the relationship that I have with my husband now. And he has been a great part of my healing. And he has loved me through all of my struggles and fears and all the things, you know? And so don't shy away from being in a relationship just because you think you're not healed, okay? And that includes friendships, not just romantic relationships. You can experience life, okay? You are safe to experience life and have friends and have loved ones and have your community. And that's, if I gave this an overall message, it would be, you are safe within yourself. Remember that. Accept yourself, love yourself, allow your story. And what comes, comes. Okay? Some things may be destroyed from your life as you do that, right? Some people may be removed from it. Like me, I shattered the religion. I shattered the first marriage. I definitely destroyed what needed to be destroyed. And then I created what needed to be created. And I'm still doing that, right? And that's humanity. That's what's so magical about us, guys. We are not cursed. We're freaking amazing. We just haven't realized it yet. So, yeah, there's our masculine message for the day. I hope it helps someone. I love you all so much, and I believe in you all, and I see so many people waking up in lots of different ways, and being creative, sharing their giftings, getting out there and just share what you've learned, okay? Somebody will appreciate it. And it doesn't matter if they get it or not. You deserve to tell your story. Just remember that. And your experiences and your observations. And speaking it, by the way, puts it out into the quantum. Think of like quantum physics for a second. Or if you're into spiritual practice like me, the sacred weavers, right? When we speak, we spell. We put it out into the quantum. So speak your story, okay? And your body will thank you. Your life will thank you. Your soul will be so proud of you. And I'm proud of you. And I'm proud of me for coming through this, right? We could do it. We can do it, guys. I love you all.